What's up, YouTube world? This is ErrrJay back with another episode of Shootin' the Breeze with ErrrJay, and today's episode I'm gonna go a different direction real quick and talk about Tulsi Gabbard. Um, Now, before I start, I do not want this to be a political channel. Well, why are you doing a video on Tulsi Gabbard? I'll tell you why. Um, I'm not a political expert. I'm not a political analyst. I actually despise politics. I hate just about everybody who's ever been involved in politics. Um, I just feel like they're all a bunch of filthy fucking liars, you know? Um, but, little backstory. One night I was hanging out in my room, about to smoke a bowl before I went to bed, and the Joe Rogan podcast was on. My computer, it has that auto play function. So, I was just going through, I'm just like kind of listening, whatever. Like I'm getting ready to go to sleep, I don't care. Um, so, all of a sudden I hear him say, "Oh, presidential candidate Tulsi Gabbard." And I'm like, presidential candidate Tulsi Gabbard? I'm like, who's that? And I was like, obviously it's a girl, so I was like, okay. And this was, when was this? Early 2019, spring 2019 maybe. Somewhere around there perhaps. But anyway, so she was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and I'm just like, keep it on the background, whatever. Sorry for yawning. I've had a very, 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 very long day. I'm actually shooting the breeze with RJ way later than I normally would, so I apologize if you've been waiting for it. I was going to go live, but I wouldn't be able to have this picture of Tulsi Gabbard if I went live. And I want people to see what she looks like, because there's a lot of people that don't know about her, which is part of the reason why I'm doing this video. But anyway, so I saw her on the Joe Rogan podcast. She was talking, and, she said, she went to war in Iraq. She signed up after 9/11. And she told, she said about what she did there, which I'll get to that. But the thing that made me really pay attention to what Tulsi Gabbard was saying, and this is so dumb, but it just says so much to me. She compared politics to the episode of South Park where they had their own wrestling promotion, and it was just all drama and no action, And I was like, this fucking girl just made a South Park reference. And she's in politics. Which right away makes her stand out to me. I've never heard any politician mention South Park ever in any kind of way. Maybe they have, and I just didn't hear it. Like I said, I'm not a political expert. I don't study all this shit. But so it's like, oh shit, so she got me hooked with that South Park reference, and then I was listening to her and I saw her and I was like, oh my God, she's beautiful, and her and Joe Rogan were talking. She was talking about the cost of war and yada yada yada, and I was like, yo, this chick seems very honest, like she looks like she's telling the truth. She looks like her body language is different. Everything about her is different to me. And Democratic establishment is trying to shut her down, man. And it ain't fucking cool, because the whole shit's rigged. Not just against Tulsi, against whoever they don't like. So anyways, I've been paying attention to her since then. I watch a lot of her town halls on YouTube. Go subscribe to her channel. I'll have a link below for the website where I got this information from that I'm about to talk about. Uh, but I'll put a link. If I remember, I'll put a link in there too for the for her YouTube channel. That way you can check her out, watch her town halls. She just seems like a very laid back girl. So anyways, let's get to some of these notes. Sorry, dude. Sorry, guys. I can't stop yawning. I don't know why. Um, she's not wearing a lei for no reason. She was born and raised in Hawaii. She's multicultural. French, German, I think. Polynesian. And a couple other ethnicities. She was raised in a multi-faith household where Christian and Hindu were the religions. So, she kind of learned about two ways at once. And she realized that the essence of both faiths were the same. Just loving yourself, loving God, stuff like that. Like I'm not religious, you know what I mean? But, if people are, that's fine. And she, has said, like, hey, if you don't follow anything, that's fine. If you're Hindu, if you're Christian, if you're Catholic, if you're a Muslim, if you're Jewish, whatever religion you are, it's okay. We're all good, As a kid, her mom would make her and her siblings clean up the beach or prepare food for homeless shelters. Her mom would make them do this every week. I'm sure her mom more than likely felt like it would instill a sense of, motivation, helping others, stuff like that. She's an avid surfer, so cleaning up the beach, felt good because she surfed there all the time. You know what I mean? So to clean up where you surf, to make sure your water there, the ocean where you surf is clean, So she would do all that as a kid. And then as she got older, she went for election in the state house in Hawaii, and she won. She was coming up for re-election right after 9/11, and she decided to go to Iraq instead, because she wanted to serve this country after those horrific attacks. Which that's a whole nother video that I could do about 9/11. But, I don't want people watching me. But anyways, she went to war in Iraq instead of basically trying to get reelected for the state house. She left and was like, no, I'm going to serve our country in another way by going to war. So while she was there, she was a medic. So every day she would have to, count the bodies, so to speak, heal wounds, see who's alive, see who's not. She was in the war zone, man. She was in the war zone. She has said, most nights she went to sleep to the sound of mortars. And every day when she woke up, she would, that's what she would have to do. The body count, see who's alive, see who's not, check their wounds, help them out, And then she came home after war. And she ran for Congress in Hawaii. And she won. So she's been a member of Congress since, I think, 2012. So it's been about, 6.5, 7 years-ish, that she's been in Congress in Hawaii. She's a member of the Armed Services, Homeland Security, and Foreign Affairs Committee. And her whole premise on running is basically anti-war. Making America, stop policing the world. acting like, you know what I mean? And a lot of people will say, like, oh, well, the things that are happening in these other countries are terrible, yada, yada. It's like, yeah, they are, but is it our business? You know what I mean? Like, is it really our business? Like the we waste so much money on war. Like, it's like $4 billion a month in the Middle East. $4 billion a month in the Middle East. Like, so is it really worth it? Like, for what? So people could die, so we could waste more money. Usually places after we've been to them are worse off than before we got there because we overthrow their leader and then it's just chaos for a little while. Like, and, it never balances back out. Um, so she's saying unless there's a real legitimate threat to America, we need to get the F out of there. You know what I mean? And I completely agree with that. I don't understand why we're over in all these places. I don't get it. If, I wouldn't like it if anybody from another country came over here and said, oh, you can't eat pork now because it's filthy and we're going to, make sure we overthrow your leaders to make sure you can't eat pork. Like, what? Or, oh, you have the freedom of speech, we're going to overthrow your leaders to make sure you don't have that anymore. Like, I wouldn't like that. Nobody would like that. So why, like, I know there are different scenarios, but it's like, nobody likes to be told how to live. You know what I mean? It's up to the countries to stand up and revolt and, elect people that will help them. You know what I mean? So yeah, like, we need to get out of there. I don't understand it. Never made sense to me. And she realized all of this once she was over there, that, she was lied to by the country, well, by the media of the country, as to why they're over there. The whole war in Iraq was a sham. She realized this, so when she came back, she ran for Congress, she won. Now she wants to get us out of these wars. She wants to get all of our troops home, not just some here or there, all of them. Get all of them home and bring all that money that we're wasting, $4 billion a month, just in the Middle East, back to us to help us pay for what's important. Medicare for all, maybe lower tuition for college, better public education systems, better infrastructure, clean water, better air, going green. Like, she wants to bring all this war money back so it'll help us do these things. She believes in Second Amendment, but does want to have stricter background checks and ban military-style assault weapons. I'm not for the ban of, like, AR-15s and stuff like that. I know a handful of people that own them. They're responsible. So I don't see why they should have to give them up. But I do think there needs to be more background checks, or, stricter ones. I've been saying for a while, if it were me, whether you own a gun, whether it's a pistol, a semi-automatic, a shotgun, whatever, you should have to be evaluated once a year, like, mentally. You know what I mean? Make sure you're still good. But out of all the candidates, right, I'm not for the ban of the assault weapons or whatever, but I feel like out of all the candidates, she'd be the one that would be willing to compromise and try to find a middle ground where it's like, okay, you don't want to ban these. All right, what could we do about it then? Give me a solution besides just, oh, we can't ban them. It's Second Amendment. Give me a better reason. And she believes in the Second Amendment. I'm sure she's probably a gun owner. She was in the military. I wouldn't be surprised if she owns a few guns. But we gotta do something. I mean, I'm not, like, people will always find a way to hurt somebody, whether it's a gun or not. If you want to ban one gun, they'll just use another, whatever, or a knife or whatever. But something needs to be done, man. You know what I mean? And like I said, I feel like she's like the only candidate that it's open-minded enough to compromise. She wants to legalize weed and perhaps all drugs, and just end the war on drugs, because it's a waste of time, it's a waste of money. Our jails are full of people that are in there for non-violent crimes, and for whether they're using drugs or they're selling drugs or whatever. She at least marijuana, she wants to federally legalize it, regulate it, and I'm sure she'd want to do the same with other drugs that she might want to legalize. So that's pretty much it. She just seems like very middle of the ground. She's not too far left, not too far right. She's pro-choice, but not like up to the last day. You can make that choice. Like, she's pretty like normal with that. Like, I think she said after the first trimester, it's like, nah, man, like, come on. Maybe even second, unless it's life-threatening, to the parent or the baby, then whatever. You gotta do what you gotta do. She's anti-war. She wants to help with going green, get off of fossil fuels. She just seems very legit, very middle of the road, not extreme on either side. And that's why I like her, man. That's why I'm supporting her. Like I said earlier, I'm not into politics. I'm not a political expert or anything, but everything I see and hear about her is great. And the things that aren't just seem like they're smears, like they're just trying to find something. Like people say, oh, she's an Assad apologist because she won't call him a brutal dictator. And it's like, maybe she knows calling him a brutal dictator won't help anybody's cause. Maybe, just maybe. Oh, well, she didn't vote yes on the impeachment for Trump. She voted present. She's like, because she knows it's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of money. We have other things to worry about than impeaching Donald Trump. Let's beat him in the polls. You know what I mean? That's what she's saying. She's anti-establishment. She wants to try to go for Medicare for all, but still maybe keep, public plans, third-party payers, private insurance, because if somebody doesn't want to be on state insurance, they shouldn't have to be, but if they want to be, they could be. So, like I said, she's very middle of the road. I really dig her. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please look more into her if you're interested. Like I said, I'll leave the link to her website below and her YouTube page below. So click on those, give her a subscribe, look at her website. And with that being said, folks, oh, I forgot to mention aloha. She always says aloha, and she doesn't say it because it means goodbye or hello. She's saying it because it means, she's coming to you with respect. As a human being, she's coming to you with respect. That's what aloha means. That's the aloha spirit, she says. So she just seems like a very down-to-earth person, just very cool. She seems like she knows what she's talking about. She could be lying. I mean, a lot of politicians do, but something about her tells me that she's super honest, and she's for the people. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Shooting the Breeze with ErrrJay. Until next time, folks, peace.